What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to be covering 10 things that you probably didn't know in Call of Duty Warzone. Now, the large majority of this stuff is going to be for beginners or intermediate level players. If you've got a ton of playtime in Warzone, then you might know most of these already. However, there are definitely a few that even some advanced players might not know either, so make sure to watch all the way through to the end. If you do end up enjoying the video, then make sure to hit that like button down below and consider subscribing to the channel with those notifications on so you don't miss any videos or live streams. But with that out of the way, let's get stuck right into it. So starting off with probably the most basic one, just to get it out of the way, a lot of people don't actually know this, but you can actually double tap the sprint button in order to do what's called a tactical sprint, where you essentially just sprint faster than a normal sprint. This is a new feature to the Call of Duty franchise, as it hasn't been in any other games before Modern Warfare, so this one does seem to slip past a lot of people since it never really says anywhere that you can do this, except for probably in the campaign, but obviously there is no campaign in Warzone. Now, it doesn't last very long at all, but it can help you get from cover to cover really fast in a tense situation, so it is definitely worth using that tactical sprint whenever you can, and the double time perk does actually allow it to last even longer too, so that in itself is a nice little tip as well. Moving on, we have another one that I think most people actually don't know, and I only figured this out pretty recently, but if you're climbing down a ladder, you can actually just press and hold the crouch button, and this will cause you to slide down the ladder rather than actually climbing slowly down it. We all know ladders can be a real pain in the ass in this game, and for the most part, climbing down ladders isn't something you're going to be doing all that often, but it can help even when you're climbing up a ladder and need to quickly go back down if you're getting shot at or something like that. It is a very situational tip, but it is a very handy tip to know nonetheless. Next up, we have a tip that could actually save you in the end game regardless of which side of this that you're on, and that is that characters without a gas mask will actually cough when they're inside of the gas. If you're getting towards the final circle and it's getting chaotic, then make sure to listen out for any coughing, because someone could have either tried to sneak behind you or maybe they got caught in the gas, so often it can lead to an easy kill. On the other side of that, if you're trying to sneak up on an enemy while you're moving in with the circle and you don't have a gas mask, then make sure you don't accidentally get caught in the gas even for a second, as I learned this the hard way and ended up choking literally on a win with a few mates, so make sure to keep that in mind if you are near the gas at any point throughout the match. Next up is another fairly obvious one, but this might be super helpful for any newer players, but it's always helpful to take in your surroundings and look for any flares in the sky, as that can mean one of two things. Either an enemy team is doing a recon contract at that location, or an enemy has just been brought back by their teammate at that location. If you see a flare up in the sky shining bright yellow, then that means a team is capturing a recon point, and this can be really handy as it not only alerts you that they're nearby, but generally speaking they're going to be sitting ducks as well, so it might actually be helpful to go and push them for some easy kills. If the flare is red, then that means an enemy has just brought back his teammates, and again that could mean it's worth pushing since he might be alone. It's also worth keeping in mind that this is the same for you too, so if you're planning on capturing a recon or buying back a teammate, then just beware that you might actually alert any nearby enemies of your exact location. Moving on, the next tip is actually to do with your settings, and this is going to save you a heap of time when it comes to looting, which at the start of a round can be the difference between life and death. What you want to do is head into your settings and head down to where it says use/reload behavior. The default setting will say tap to reload, but you want to change that instead to contextual tap, as this means you'll no longer have to hold the use button to pick up weapons, rather you can just press the button once. I'm going to show you guys side by side a comparison of the looting speed between regular settings and the contextual tap setting, just to show you how much of a difference this actually makes, as it is actually pretty crazy how much faster you can loot, as well as anything like opening doors or even getting into a vehicle. The only issue that you will come across is that sometimes you might want to reload, but there's a door or a vehicle or something nearby and you'll accidentally do the wrong thing, but you can actually hold the reload button rather than tapping it, and that will stop that from happening. So this is 100% a setting that you need to be using if you do want to improve your gameplay. Next up, we actually have another settings change, which is arguably even more important than the last one, and that is to do with your crouching and proning ability. Head to those settings again, and literally the first one you come across is the BR button layout setting. It will start out on default, but what you want to do is change this one to tactical instead, which switches the crouch prone slide button from circle or B to the R3 button instead. Now, this will take you a while to get used to, but I promise you it is absolutely worth it, and once you do it, you will literally be changing this setting in any FPS game that you ever play again, because once you learn it, you will never want to go back to the default settings. The The reason this is so important is because it means you don't have to take the right thumb off the stick in order to crouch, slide or go prone, which is something that you do a hell of a lot more than using your melee, and it allows you to do it much faster as well. So if you're behind cover and quickly need to duck, it just makes it a hell of a lot faster and easier. It will feel extremely weird for a while guys, but trust me, this is the best change I have ever made and it works for all FPS games too, so once you do get used to it, you'll improve at every single FPS game that you ever play. Next up, and this is an absolute game changer if you didn't know this, but if you or your teammates call in 3 UAVs all at roughly the same time, it will actually turn that UAV into an advanced UAV, meaning 1, every single player, even players with Ghost, will show up on the map, and 2, players who don't have Ghost will even have their direction shown, meaning you can see exactly where they're running. You can call them all in yourself, or you can just call in 3 between you and your squad. It doesn't matter which way you do it, but once those 3 are up, you'll be able to see every single player on the map while it is active. Moving on, we have a tip for the start of the game, and this one is essentially how to get to the ground quicker from the plane. Now, if you're jumping out and just going straight down, then that's obviously just as simple as going straight down, but if you have a fair bit of distance to travel, rather than just pulling the chute and flying over, or dropping until a reasonable height and then pulling the chute, you want to try and actually continuously pull the chute and then cut the chute to drop even faster. When you pull the chute, rather than dropping faster, your character will actually move much faster horizontally, and so then when you cut the chute, you're actually getting the speed of the drop but still moving horizontally. Eventually you will begin to fall vertically faster than you're moving forward horizontally, at which point you want to just pull the chute again, get that horizontal speed back up, and then cut the chute and do it all over again, and this will get you much further out in a much faster time than normal. Now, moving on, we all know how frustrating it is when you get killed by a C4 or an RPG while you and your squad are driving around in a vehicle, but there is actually a direct counter to this. While you're looting, you'll come across a trophy system every now and then, and if you do have one of these, then you can actually put it somewhere on your vehicle, either on the bonnet or the roof or just wherever really, and this will actually stop any explosives from hitting the car, essentially just deleting them from existence when they get too close. This is a must in the late game if you're in a vehicle, so keep your eyes out for the trophy systems around the map when you are looting at the start of a round. Now, last but definitely not least is a really clutch tip for the end of the game, or just any point throughout the game for that matter, and that is that you can actually start reviving yourself with a self-res, and then actually have your teammate finish it off, meaning you'll actually save them a lot of time standing there in a dangerous spot, as well as the fact that you will get to keep that self-revive for yourself. You can see in this clip here that I downed myself and then started to pick myself up, but then my good friend Vic came along and finished that last little section, meaning he didn't have to stand in the open for ages, and I still get to keep that self-revive. So this is a really great tip to know, and this honestly can be the difference between winning and losing if you do go down late in the game. But that is going to do it for the 10 things you probably didn't know in Warzone, guys. If this video did help you guys out, then make sure to smash that like button, and if you do have any tips of your own, then definitely feel free to comment those down below as well. If you are new around here, then consider subscribing to the channel and turning on those notifications so you don't miss out on any videos or live streams. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.